Hey guys, it's you and I this week on the podcast talking about all things planning, from how to be a CEO versus a busy entrepreneur, how to use the 4-part to-do list and get more done, and the tools and steps you need to create the right habits for planning right now. Plus, I'm going to show you some of my favorite pieces of the 2026 Retail Planner, formerly the Boutique Boss Planner by the Boutique Hub. And whether you use this planner or you use some other type of planner, I want you to use these same strategies to get more done. So let's talk all things planning and starting your 2026 off right.
Guys, hi, welcome back. It is you and I this week, a little solo episode, because let's cut to the heart of something I think that we definitely have in common. Raise your hand if you write like a 12-year-old boy. Like, you want to be organized, you want to write nicely, you want good penmanship, but you write like a 12-year-old boy. So what do you do to compensate for it? Well, you probably get gel pens and markers and stickers, and maybe a fresh new notebook is like giving you hope that you're not going to write like a 12-year-old boy anymore. Okay, is that you? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But there is something, you guys, when it comes to this time of the year and we are wrapping up the fourth quarter and we're starting to think about how close the new year is to being here. And I get so excited about a new year, a fresh start, a new notebook, and a new planner so that I don't write like a 12-year-old boy. I don't know what it is. Tell me I'm crazy. My Instagram's AJ Alderson. You guys, seriously, I need you to weigh in on this conversation because I think we have it in common. Like, we like new notebooks and pens so that we feel better about ourselves and we feel like we're going to have a fresh new start in a new year. So I wanted to come and have a bit of a solo episode with you guys today on the podcast and just talk about planning and setting yourself up for the new year, what it takes, I think, to start the new year off right, and just give you kind of a couple tips and tricks when it comes to efficiency and productivity that have helped me along the way, at least become more of a CEO and less of an entrepreneur. So hopefully if this helps me, it will help you. So as we dig into it today, first of all, let me just tell you, yes, I'm going to be referencing, if you're watching this on YouTube, the Boutique Boss Planner, the Retail Planner, as it is newly named this year for 2026. I'll be telling you all about what's inside the planner. Whether you use this planner or not, this episode's still going to be for you, because even if you don't use this planner, I want to talk about how you should be planning, what tools you could be using when you're planning, and just, again, some efficiency hacks to help you get there. So let me back all the way up and start this, kind of strategy session by sharing kind of the overall mindset that leads me in this conversation. And this is something I love to talk about a lot inside of Retail Bootcamp in Layer 1. And that's all about the CEO versus the entrepreneur mindset. And I think that many of us have this in common when we start our businesses. We're all living in this entrepreneur mindset of, I'm kind of going to build the plane as I fly it. I'm figuring it out. I'm DIYing. I'm saving my way forward. I'm trying to put the pieces together to make this business really work. And we end up doing a lot of things and hustling our way through in order to prove the concept of what it is we're working on. And that's fine. That's awesome for a while. Like, we need the hustle. We need the grind. That's an essential part of getting started and getting started right. But I think there does come a point for all of us in business, once we've been in that space for a little while, where we keep asking ourselves, okay, there has to be a different way. There has to be a better way. There's not enough hours in the day for me to get everything done. How are other people doing this? How are other people succeeding? How are other people moving the needle in their business? And that's where this call to live in our CEO mindset really begins to come from. And the difference between the two is really, it comes down to this thing. And it's the relationship between time and money. So what we know is time in this world is the only thing that's limited for us. There's only 24 hours in the day. We can't make any more time. But money in this world is infinite. There's more than enough money to go around. There's always a new opportunity to make money. There's a new strategy. There's always something we can do. We just have to go after it. But the thing that's holding us back often from figuring it out is time, because we can't do it all ourselves with the time that we're allotted. So the shift from entrepreneur to CEO happens when we start to really change our relationship between time and money and start to challenge ourselves to say, okay, what are the most important things I can focus on as the CEO? What are the systems, the processes, the 20% of my list that's going to give me 80% of the results, the $100 an hour jobs versus the $10 an hour jobs? When I can focus in on those things as a CEO, and either ask for help or let go of the rest or figure out a more efficient strategy for the rest, that's when I can get more done. And that's when my business essentially can scale. So we're constantly challenged on this journey to becoming a CEO to build in more productivity and efficiency and have a better plan and better consistency along the way, because that's what winning looks like. So when I come to you and I talk about having a planner, setting your week up for success, the 4-part to-do list, all the things we're going to talk about today, it really is because I know, after working with thousands of businesses and being on this journey myself, is that we can't just wing it. We can't just DIY it. We can't just do it all. We have to move from being an entrepreneur to being a CEO and systematizing how we show up for our businesses. That is how we win. And that's how we've seen thousands of businesses before us win as well. So I want to invite you into a couple of strategies in being a CEO that I found helpful for myself and many others. And the first one is this. I want to make sure when you're thinking about setting your week up for success, you have to have a plan that you can execute consistently. And it takes habits to make that possible. So I would just start by asking, okay, if I'm going to look at my week ahead, what is the habit I can build for myself? Just start with one habit. It's habit stacking. Just start with one habit. What's one healthy habit I can create for myself when it comes to planning? And then next week I can add on another habit. And the following week I can reinforce those 2 habits and add on a 3rd habit. But what can I start with in terms of planning where I can build consistent habits? So the first is, what's the day of the week? What's the day of the week that I know that I sit down and I plan out what's going to happen? For a long time for me, it was Sunday nights. And then I started to have kids and we were traveling on the weekends and things weren't working out. So I had to back it up and say, okay, Friday, mid-morning, like Friday morning, Friday afternoon, wherever I could fit it in. Fridays had to be my day where I made sure that the week that was coming was set up for success. And then the first thing I did when I got to work Monday morning, my plan was pretty much laid out. Maybe I needed to arrange a few small things, but then I could run and I could execute. So step 1 is just, when is my time to plan? When is my time to sit down and get it all put together? So pick that time. And my advice after years of experience is, it's got to be more than just Monday morning. Monday morning's great, but pretty soon your whole Monday shot planning. So if you can start it at the end of the week and then finish it at the beginning, it's going to be a whole lot more successful. So when is that going to be for you? So that's number 1. When is the plan? I can't even talk today. When can I build in consistency to my plan? Step number 2 is, where and how am I going to plan? So planning for you, is it something that happens in an office? Is it your kitchen table? Where is the place where you feel like it's free of clutter? It feels good to be in, where you can sit down, feel organized, and map out what's to come. And I say this because studies do show when we try to plan our week ahead and we're in a really loud, noisy, unorganized, like the laundry's not done and the kids are crying and the table's a mess and there's food out on the counter and all of that, like our brains get so distracted, especially as women, because we're knowing all the other roles and duties in our life and we feel like we have to have a clean space to have a clean mind. So I want to make sure you're setting yourself up with the right space that's free of clutter, where you can sit down quietly and focus on mapping out success for your week ahead. So where's the place? And then 3rd, what's the tool? How do you like to plan? Some of you are paper planners. Some of you are in a notebook. Some of you are in a Trello board. Some of you are Google Calendar. Some of you are a hybrid of all things. And I encourage you, if you don't know yet what you are, to pick one, test it out for 3 weeks. Just be consistent with whatever it is you're going to test out for 3 weeks and then iterate on it. So personally, I'll give you what works for me. It's a combination. It's a hybrid of things. So I still love paper. There is something about like putting things down on paper for me, in a notebook or in a planner or whatever, so that I have them. But then I know it's not feasible for me always to have that paper with me or always to have that planner with me. So I do like to use digital tools in combination with my paper. So I use Trello for project management. So I have the Trello app on my phone. I have Trello always open on my desktop. And Trello is like kind of a digital to-do list. So I have several different lists. I have my personal list. I have my done list because I like to see the progress. I have my in progress list. I have my today list, this week, next month, and next quarter, and then future ideas. So those are all of my boards. And so when I have a task or an idea that I want to work on, it maybe goes on my future ideas, or maybe it has to happen this month. Maybe I know it's immediate, it has to go down this week. It goes on whatever the appropriate board is. And then every day when I show up to work, I can glance at that list and evaluate my today list. Okay, what are the 3 things on my today list I know I can get done? Because a today list with 10 items is not feasible, right? It's got to be narrowed down 3 things, and you can add more if you build in that space. But what's my today list? And then as those things are done, I can either move them over to in progress, like I'm waiting on somebody to get me something or I need to follow up on it, or I move it to done. And I just love seeing the progress of things moving across my Trello boards. So that's kind of how I approach the digital version of it. And then digitally, in terms of my calendar, yes, I have things in my this week day planner, but I prefer everything that's more long-term to go in a Google Calendar so that I have it on my phone all the time. So I have a kid's calendar, I have my husband's calendar, I have my work calendar, and I have a personal calendar. And they all sync, they're always open. So every single day I can see what's happening with everybody, work-wise, personal-wise. And then I also have access to see all of my employees' calendars because everyone at the Boutique Hub uses Google Calendar to schedule themselves. So I can sync if I need to have a meeting with someone. I can go to their Google Calendar and they can go to mine, and they can see when I'm available or when I've blocked off time for other activities. So again, that's kind of my hybrid. Every day I'm working on Trello. Every day I'm in Google Calendar. And then I would say once a week, I'm really sitting down to make sure, okay, here's my planner on paper, and then I can cross things off or make notes as I'm on phone calls or whatever inside of my planner. Now, a lot of retailers I've talked to about their planners, especially if they're using the Boutique Boss planner, they're using it with their manager. So they have a planner and their store manager has a planner, and they're sitting down every week to do the tracking sheets together and then to cross-reference notes and to-do items with one another from their planners. So again, whatever works for you, test it out for 3 weeks and then iterate on it. It might be a combination of paper and online. It might be one or the other. Whatever works for you is what helps you feel like the most productive CEO possible.
It's here. It's time. Are you ready to start planning 2025? Well, you might have your own day planner. You might have a Google Calendar, but let me tell you, I love planning with the official Boutique Boss Planner. The Boutique Boss Planner is a day planner that we created here at the Boutique Hub several years ago, created by boutique owners for boutique owners, and it's more than a day planner. Inside of the Boutique Boss Planner is not only your opportunity to operate with a normal day planner with your hours and your time blocks, but it's also a boutique owner's go-to resource. Inside, there's inventory tracking, social media tracking, monthly reminders and to-do lists, all kinds of information on how to host a month in review to really track what worked and what didn't in your business this month, but also a planning sheet on how to get ready for the next month in your business. Even if you're going to market, even if you're getting ready for social media content, there's tools, tips, and ideas and checklists to keep you on track and organized all year long inside of the Boutique Boss Planner. So check out the link in the show notes for access to the 2025 Boutique Boss Planner, or visit boutiquebossstore.com.
All right, so those are really my 3 most important steps. Making sure you've got the proper place, you've got the proper tool, and you've got the proper time and day of the week so that you can start to build really good habits. And then from there, I know many of you have probably heard me talk about the 4-part to-do list. I don't need to spend a ton of time. I know I have specific podcast episodes on this. We cover it a ton in Retail Bootcamp. In the training library for our members, I go over this. It's pretty much everywhere because I think it's important for anyone being a CEO versus an entrepreneur. But essentially, my 4-part to-do list is kind of the foundation for how I got into being the CEO and really managing productivity. And so I basically ask myself these 4 questions every week when I'm doing my pre-planning. So question number 1 is, what is my every single week to-do list? Every single week. So for you as a store owner, it's ordering inventory, it's looking at restocks, it's having a photo shoot, it's launching new arrivals, it's managing team schedules, it's reconciling your QuickBooks, it's sending things off to your bookkeeper, it's customer service, right? We could go on. These things have to happen every single week, like clockwork in your business for your business to succeed. Every week they happen. So I'll come back to what to do with this list in a minute, but just put a pin in this. So list number 1, every single week. List number 2 is this week specifically. So this week specifically for you personally, What are the most important things to do as the CEO of your business that are going to drive the most success? This is not just the busy work, right? Answering the emails and running the errands. Yeah, I'm sure there's some of that. But what are the big rocks on your list? What are the big to-do items that are going to really move the needle for you? So I really need to update and build out my follow-up sequence in my flows in my email provider. Okay. Or I really need to work on building out my holiday collection. Or I really need to look at Valentine's Day. Whatever it's going to be, it's my this week list, and these items can be no more than 3 items per day. So we're talking maybe if you're working 7 days a week, right? That's like 21 items. That's a lot. So maybe 10, maybe 15 items. Like it's got to be pretty short on my this week list. And then list number 3 is everything that didn't make it to this week. It goes into my later list. So as I talked to you about my Trello boards, my later list would be like this week, next week, this month, this quarter, or later in the future. So later means I need to do it at some point, but it's not my top priority this week. And so making sure we have those things prevents us in 2 separate lists from being the person who has just like one running to-do list that's 200 items long, and you never, ever feel the success of accomplishing the whole list. You know what I'm talking about, right? If you're a list maker and you're just constantly adding to the to-do list, do you ever actually get the whole list done? Probably not. I never did, right? And you constantly lived in the state of lack because you're always in the state of, here's what I really need to get done and I want to get done, but here's what I got done and it's not enough. I'm always in the gap of the in-between. And so we never feel like, wow, look at what I did as a CEO. I got all of this done and now I have time back on my calendar. So I want to set you up for success in what I did versus what I didn't do. That's why the lists have to be separate. So again, list 1 is every week. List 2 is this week only. List 3 is later. List 4 is what can I say no to or what can I outsource? So these are the things that you know, because I know that you are a control freak entrepreneur and you're doing all these things because you can, right? And because maybe you think you're saving money by doing them. But in reality, these are things you probably should ask for help on, right? Maybe it's building out your email campaigns every week. Yes, you can do it. Yes, it's cheaper if you do it. And yes, maybe you even like to do it. But are there better places for you to be spending your money? Could a virtual assistant help you build these out and then you just give them the final review? Or maybe it's managing Pinterest. Yes, you can do it and you could do it for free. But could someone else do that for you and drive that traffic back to you and pay for themselves? Right? Maybe it's hanging, tagging, steaming, unboxing, organizing, cleaning, watching your kids for a couple more hours a week, like whatever it might be. But I think it's a constant journey when we're an entrepreneur moving to be a CEO where we're constantly having to say no to things. All right. So if I take those 4 items in my 4-part to-do list, then I can actually set up planning my week. My every single week list, number 1, becomes time blocked in my calendar or theme days in my calendar. And I know, okay, Mondays are my days for marketing and Tuesdays are planning my launches and my inventory and Wednesdays are about photo shoots and marketing, so on and so forth. So every week is list number 1. List number 2 goes on my daily to-do lists. List number 3 goes on my later, longer list. And list number 4, I need to execute where I need to ask for help or what I need to say no to. Because everything's either a hell yes or hell no, right? If I am taking up space on my calendar doing things that are not serving me and building revenue for my company, it's me telling myself no to something that is or that could be. So make sure you're spending that time wisely. So again, hopefully those 3 quick tips in our 4-part to-do list can set you up for success when it comes to planning. All right? No matter what your planner is, I hope that sets you up for success when it comes to planning. But I did today want to spend some real time looking at our 2026 retail planner. No matter what you sell, apparel, home and gift, children's, beauty, subscription boxes, all the things. Because as I've gone on this journey of entrepreneur to CEO, I think I've used every planner under the sun, But I feel like there's always things that are missing for me as a business owner. There's things that I want to be reminded of on a weekly basis, or things I know I should be taking notes on in my business, but I don't have the space to do it unless I built myself a spreadsheet or I kept a separate notebook. And I just wanted all these things in one place. And so back in 2020, this is actually when we first launched. We called it the Boutique Boss Planner. This year we're rebranding it to the Retail Planner. But it's when we first built this out because we wanted everything from our business that needed attention every week in one spot. And so I want to give you a tour today inside of the planner so you can see what those most essential pieces are. So when you go into our planner, the first several pages, if you're watching this on YouTube, are all about education, like quick references to things you should know. Maybe you do know, maybe you don't. But I'm going to give you one example. There's several pages of just quick tips and education, but one that I really like is our retail terms and acronyms guide. If you're someone who's newer to business, or maybe your store manager has this book and she doesn't have all the knowledge that you have about this business, this is a quick reference guide to a lot of the things that we're going to reference later on in the checklists or tracking sheets, or maybe just in your day-to-day retail world. Things like, what's a CR? Conversion rate. What's a POS? Point of sale system? What's IMU? Your initial markup. And it explains how to calculate some of these things as well. So this quick little guide is going to help you and your team stay on the same page with a lot of the retail knowledge that you need. All right, then the next section, after kind of some general education, then we get into more of the planning section when it comes to the year ahead. So holiday promotions, events, social media ideas, content calendars, all of that comes in the next several pages of the planner. So when you're looking at content and things you should be doing in your business, all of these content planners and ideas are all inside the planner as well. Okay, next section, I'm all about self-reflection. And I think in order to successfully plan ahead, we first have to look backwards and say, okay, in the last year, what worked and what didn't? What could I do different? What could I do better? What did I learn? And then we can set our goals for going forward. So in the next section, I love this. I do it every single year. It's the same question. So I can go back to previous planners and compare apples to apples. But this is my personal self-assessment of what's working, what's not, where can I go next? And then that works right into our goals section. So there's several pages of goal planning when it comes to personal life, family life, spiritual life, business life. And we're going to help you break all of that down, making sure we've got all the correct numbers and plans for the year ahead. Okay, now let's talk about the meat and potatoes of what really makes the Boutique Boss Planner and the Retail Planner different, and why we specifically included what's next in these planners. I have found that so many women in business shy away from really understanding their numbers, their inventory, their dollars, what's really happening in their business. It lives on QuickBooks and it feels like a little bit foreign to a lot of people until you really start to dig in and live in the numbers and the dollars every day, because only a tracked number grows, right? Have you heard that saying? What you focus on, you're going to find more of, and only a tracked number grows. And the more we're in these numbers every day, the more natural they become, the more comfortable we are, and the more we're like, oh, if I do this differently in my business, it's going to impact this number differently. Of course I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be a smarter business owner and a CEO than I was yesterday. So the next several pages inside of the planner are all about checklists and tracking and numbers. So we're going to start with sales. This is month by month. You're going to fill this in. This is going to be your sales comparison this year compared to last year. So you can go in and fill in last year's numbers. But then month by month, you're going to look at sales, growth percentages in dollar amount, percentage amount. You're going to look at inventory that you had on hand in order to achieve those goals. You're going to look at aged inventory and your growth rate. And then every month you're going to have a notes section of, okay, this month I was up, I was down, I was even, my inventory was different, but why? Why? Because again, to look forward, we have to look back. So what did I do different last year? What can I change this coming year so that I can be so much smarter with my inventory and my sales and my promotions? Same is going to be true in the next section for social media tracking, right? Only a track number grows. So whether it's TikTok or your email list or whatever, all of that is going to be tracked inside of your tracking sheets. Now, we used to, in years past, have several more tracking sheets inside the planner, but the planner got really big and heavy. This year, we tried to slim it down a little bit. So we gave you a digital resource guide with every single planner that's purchased. You just get this email. and it's full of PDF tracking sheets. So if you want to print these out and just slip them in your planner, or if you want to keep them in a different place, however you want to do them, these are bonus tracking sheets just for you and for your manager and your team so that you're all on the same page with what's happening in your business. All right, next section of the planner that I think is really unique, and we built this in on purpose, is all of our checklists. So the planner is built by business owners for business owners. And so annually, quarterly, and monthly, we give you different not tracking sheets, but checklists so that you and your manager can go in here and fill these out together. And some of them are like little simple no-brainer, like, yes, I should back up my computer and my photo drive, or yes, I should change my passwords on blah, blah, blah. But they're things that we just never do. We never get around to it because they never make it to the top of our list. These are easy things for you and your team to go, oh yes, let's do this like clockwork because it's going to make us better business owners at the end of the day. Okay, now let me tell you this. This by far is my favorite part of the planner, what I'm going to show you. It's my favorite because I think it's the most impactful when it comes to really recognizing what drove success in my business this month. What did I do that made things work or not work? And then what are the notes and things I have to remember for next year? So every single month has an end of month tracking sheet where you can literally go through sales day by day. You can talk about your payroll that month, top performing sales staff, lowest performing sales staff, what's on order, what's aged, what are other projected sales, what's beginning of month inventory, end of month inventory. But then these are, that's very like numbers-based strategic questions. But then the next questions are, okay, let's reflect on your goals for the year and where we hit them and where we fell short and why. So we go through all of your goals. We go through returning customers, traffic to your website, traffic to your storefront. And we talk about most profitable vendors, trends you were seeing, changes in the weather, changes in the world around you, things that you need to know in order to plan for next year. So the month in review is critical when it comes to this month next year. So by far, that is my favorite part of the planner. All right, so then after all the tracking sheets, then I just want to show you what a month to month looks like in terms of, or a day to day looks like inside of the planner. So this year, our planner is the planner only. In years past, it was the planner and the content creator combined. So you could have, this week's planning for my to-do list, right? My day planner on one sheet. And then you flip it to the next sheet and it was our content planner. So here's all my social media plans. Well, the book got really big and heavy. And so we were like, okay, nope. This year we're going to pull them back apart again. And it's two separate books. So you've got your day planner and then you have your content planner where you fill in all your marketing plans for the week. A lot of you love to purchase that and give it to all of your staff who is helping you with marketing. And then you could compare notes every single day. This year, again, it's just the planner. So we laid it out. I talked about those 3 most important things that we're going to focus on every single day. That's the top of my planner. So today only, what are the 3 things I'm going to focus on and get done? And then you have room to write in however you want the hours of the day and what you have planned for the rest of the day. So if you're time blocking or if you're doing theme days, or if you need everything scheduled right down to the appointment, you have space to do that. And then another change when it comes to the layout of this, it is a Sunday to Friday layout, 3 full days on each side of the planner, and then Saturday is down at the bottom of the planner. So a little bit different layout. The weeks were weird. Last year, I think the week started on Monday and then ended Saturday, Sunday, and people wanted it different. So we start on Sunday, we go to Friday, and then Saturday is down on the bottom. All right. So there's so much more, but those are like the main meat and potatoes I really wanted to show you because when it comes to planning, again, it's more than just planning out what am I going to do this day? What am I going to do this week? But it's also integrating what are the numbers that are driving my life and my business forward and making sure those are inside of my planner as well, along with the checklists and to-do lists that should be customary in my business. So this year, if you are going to snag a planner, of course, I'm going to link it up for you in the show notes. If you are a member of the Boutique Hub, something we did different, in the next year, you're going to see this a lot. Members of the Boutique Hub have always gotten exclusive discounts from wholesale brands and from partners and service providers. Well, this year, everything that we sell in the hub, we're going to be moving toward member and non-member pricing. So if you are a member of the Boutique Hub, you pay monthly or annually, and you're in all of our community Facebook groups, and you've got our dashboard, and you've got our app and Ask Ashley, our AI assistant, all the things that you have as a member. You also, in your emails and in the members only groups, you have the discount code for $10 off the planner. And then all of our courses this year, everything we sell, even Summit, will have member and non-member pricing. So make sure if you're a member, grab this planner with your $10 off coupon. Ask our customer service team, look in the Facebook groups, check your emails. You should have the discount code in order to make that happen. So there are 3 different bundle options this year. You can get just the planner itself. You can get our planner starter kit, which is our planner, our tear off notepads, our matching notebook that goes with the planner this year, plus our pens. Why does everyone request our pens every single year? They're good. Like, I steal them from myself all the time at market and other places. They're really good. They're in that starter kit. Or you can get the ultimate bundle, which is our planner, content creator, plus all of our notebooks and pens and our stickers. So that is the only way to get the content planner this year, you guys. That is a little bit different. We are not going to sell the content planner on its own separately. It's only available in our big bundle where you get the planner and the content planner together. So hopefully that answers some of your questions, gives you a tour inside of this year's planner. But ultimately, no matter what planner you use, I will back you up day after day after day. I don't care what planner you use. I just want you to move into being a CEO versus an entrepreneur. I want you to set yourself up for success, because I know success in your business has to start with you and how you attack and approach every day. And there's only 24 hours. So you have to figure out how to get more done. So find the right place, find the right tool, and find the right time. And then build those consistent habits. Even if you're ADD, ADHD brain like me and you're a squirrel, that's no excuse. Squirrels can still make it happen. Squirrels are still some of the most successful people in business I know, but you can't just approach your business willy-nilly. There has to be a strategy behind it and a way to stay organized. And I know it's possible for you too if it works for me. So that's it, you guys, for this week. I hope this was helpful. Please send me your feedback. Let me know on Instagram at the Boutique Hub or AJ Alderson on Instagram. But I am wishing you guys an amazing 2026, hopefully your best year ever. And I hope that this tool and this podcast episode and all these tips are going to be strategies that are definitely going to help you get there. So thanks for listening this week. Wishing you all the best. Leave us a rating review. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think. I appreciate the fact that you guys are here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys.